This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Janice Weir-Germia. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Well, it's cold and snappy, but I'm fine.
What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in London, UK.
All right. Well, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history.
Well, I'm multi-talented, and I've decided to use that multi-talented spectrum of me in a couple of ways. One, to run my food business, which offers, I started as a caterer, and then from catering, I wanted my quality to be recognised. From catering, I went on to doing food safety training to help people understand how to handle food as caterers, exhibitors, etc. And I've trained many people. And also to be awarded for my seasonings and by judges who don't know me, who've never seen me, in the gourmet community. And all three of my seasonings have won Gold Taste Awards. And the last one, which is Rosella's Sweet Jerk, won an award last year. So quality is a big part of who I am. My other side, as I'm a trained and qualified lecturer in computing, I have been teaching for over 20 years. And I've also now gone into a role, which is an e-learning role, where I'm able to do that, but touch thousands of people. And I also have online courses that I created some time ago, which people are doing to help build their own courses. So my main focus is helping others build themselves. How I do that is through food and computing skills. That's it, basically.
So who did you learn the skills of taste from? I mean, that is definitely something you develop, especially with Caribbean fusions.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am of Trinidadian and Jamaican descent.
Get out of
I
here.
lived in Jamaica.
Come on.
Yeah. I lived in Jamaica for 3.5 years. And during that time, I had my first job. I always wanted to be a dietitian. That was my ideal role. So I went to Jamaica as a mature student at 21, and I did a pre-dietetics program, or should I say I started. So I did my first year, passed that. And then the second year, I was told I need to do microbiology. Now, I was a little silly in thinking that I'd never be able to pass it. So I decided to move on to something I knew I could do, which was with computing skills. So I then moved into doing computer programming. So I got an associate degree in computer science in Jamaica.
Okay, this is Jamaica. Okay, sure, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And whilst I was there, I also had family. My dad's family is of Maroon background, and I met my great-grandmother many years ago when I was much younger than that, when I went to Jamaica, and her daughters loved to cook. My grandmother loved to cook. She was the first black woman in Islington to own a frontline business selling food in London in 1963, I think it was. Yeah.
Wow.
So she was a caterer for a long time. Everybody loved her food. And all nationalities came to her cafe. You know, it wasn't just one. and she made her money that way. So I come from a background of entrepreneurs as well. My grandmother on my mum's side, she loved to grow food, loved to cook and make roti. So I learned how to make roti and dal puri. My mum's a great cook.
This is the Trinidadian side now we've crossed over to, right?
Trinidadian side.
Right.
Yeah. So using both of those techniques, I'm able to come up with flavors that are a fusion. But two of my seasonings actually have Chinese fusions within it.
Intriguing.
So I learnt about the different taste profiles and combined it with Caribbean to make sweet burn and carrot ting, which both have a Chinese base.
Usually I would ask someone, where's the best place to connect with you? I'm tempted to ask, where's the best place to taste your food?
Well, the best place to taste my food, well, I don't do catering at this time, but what I do is I exhibit during the summer months mainly in places like Olympia, sometimes out of London. I'd also be doing some things in Kent during summer. So in the meantime, people have to book me. I'm more of a VIP caterer than I am a general, let's just get a £5 per head meal caterer. I don't do that anymore. Because of the uniqueness and the quality of the food that I offer, it needs time and it needs to be in the right environment. So I don't really do that outdoors anymore. So one of the things I do when I demonstrate or do exhibitions is I make roti and curry and I do it all live. So people get the food as it's cooked. So I don't do food that has sat overnight and then I bring it to the event and then sell what I cooked a couple of days before. Everything except, naturally fruit you don't cook. Everything except like cakes or bread are made there and then in front of everyone. And even if I can make cakes where I am, I will do that, little tiny ones using the special machine. So it would have to be a VIP request and I come and I cook for you, or what I have done is I've had clients who would invite me to come and show them how to cook something in their home, and they'd have up to about 4 or 5 people, and then they'll have a meal at the end of it.
That's wonderful. So where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you, Janice?
Turnapot.kitchen.com.
You didn't say it with the twang. Turn a pot.
Turnapot.kitchen.com. So that's TURNAHPOT kitchen.com. So turn up. Pots.
Wonderful. All right, my friend.
And I've actually got a jingle.
Let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Janice, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory? I can't think back that far. That was a few years ago. That's a few years too many. A childhood memory, a good one, a profound one, a defining moment one.
I go with the earliest.
What type?
Which one is the earliest?
One of the earliest. Here's a childhood memory. One of the earliest was my brother trying to come up with. We wanted to cook, so we decided to make a cheese spread. We cooked this thing with seasonings and cheese and what have you, and we cooked a cheese spread that we could then use on our bread. And That was a fun moment. Another one was playing cars, because I had a brother, and what we'd do, we'd sit in the kitchen with 4 chairs and we'd pretend we're driving. And that was it.
How old were you in that memory?
My earliest one. I think about 10, and my brother was about 6 or 7, about that kind of age.
Is there anything earlier that pops to mind?
There's earlier things that my mum has told me, and the one thing that she told me, I was little, I was about 4 or 5, and they had come out the car to go and get something. When they came back, I wasn't there, and it's like it was all panic stations. Anyway, in those days, you contacted the police, etc. But luckily, one of the neighbours, he was a policeman, and I'm not sure of the story, how the connection came, that he ended up bringing me home, and then my mum was quite relieved, and then I told my mum that the policeman sat in my yap. And that's all I remember. The policeman sitting in my lap. So apparently he found me walking up and down, and because he knew me, he took me, and then took me home to my parents. Yeah,
that's wonderful.
So,
all right. Yeah. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
My favorite
song at 12 years old.
Wow, at 12 years old. What school was I in? I have to think of it by that. My favourite song, well, I was in John Loughborough School. I was in a Seventh-day Adventist private school, and I sing. So I used to sing with groups there. I can't remember a favourite song, but one of the things that we used to sing a lot of was Richard Smallwood songs, and also Andre Crouch, Jesus is the Answer for All the World Today. Mm. And I've rewritten that song, a song, which is more jazzy, which is called Jesus is the Answer, since that time. Yeah, so, right, and he really is.
All right. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Okay.
Janice, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to? Yes. Or no? Or are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
Hundreds that I've taught over the years, but not my own.
Do you believe in God?
Definitely.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do. Small, but yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I cancelled my TV license 2 years ago, and I only watch it rarely if I'm by my mum. Other than that, I don't have time for TV.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Well, I work on the screen all day as an e-learning developer. All right. But in terms of Facebook and social media, I accidentally do like an hour or 2 hours, and then I cut it back.
All right. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
Well, it's the title of my book. I decided to live, no more excuses.
Love it. Janice, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, thank you for your time, and all I would say is pass on your legacy so that others can build and grow, because each day is not promised.
Totally agree. Janice, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
That's my pleasure. Have a lovely day now.
Thank you.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.